to Global Space now with Yvonne Will.
Hi, Amy. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's just check in what's happening in the global space. U.S. President Donald Trump has withdrawn Canada's invitation to join his so-called Board of Peace, widening tensions with Prime Minister Mark Carney. The move follows Carney's speech at the World Economic Forum in Davos, where he warned that powerful nations are using tariffs, trade and supply chains as tools of economic cohesion. Still with President Trump has sued J.P. Morgan Chase and CEO Jamie Dimon, claiming his accounts were closed in 2021 for political reasons. The lawsuit seeks at least $5 billion linking the closures to the January 6 Capitol riot and his White House exit. J.P. Morgan denies political motives, saying the accounts were closed for regulatory reasons. Now, TikTok has set up a U.S. joint venture to keep the app operating in America. The entity will run independently with U.S.-led oversight and stricter data protections. ByteDance keeps a 19.9% stake, while the U.S. investors hold majority control. And now heading to the UK, retail sales picked up in December, helped by stronger consumer confidence after the Labour government's November budget. And now sales volumes rose 0.4% over the month, reversing 2 straight months of decline, according to official data. Now, the increase beat expectations and points to a modest rebound during the key Christmas shopping period. Now to Asia, Japan's inflation fell to 2.1% in December, its lowest since March 2022. Now, core inflation eased to 2.4%, but prices remain above the 2% target. Now, food costs, especially rice, stay high, keeping living cost worries alive. And still in Japan, the Bank of Japan lifted its economic growth outlook but held rates at 0.75%. Now, wage gains and steady inflation support the forecast despite easing headline prices. Now, policymakers signal a cautious, gradual approach amid political pressure and market concerns. Kazakhstan's central bank held its key interest rate at a record 18% for the second time. And the move comes despite easing inflation, as rising utility and fuel costs could push prices higher. And still in Asia, Malaysia has lifted its temporary ban on Elon Musk's Grok chatbot after new safety measures were added. Regulators say the changes address concerns over harmful content following talks with the company. Authorities say Grok will remain under close monitoring. Up next, Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang will visit China amid growing restrictions on AI chip sales. U.S. export curbs limit sales of advanced chips, a key part of Nvidia's data center revenue. Wang is set to meet buyers and address supply challenges as China's approval remains uncertain. And Xiaomi has announced a 2.5 billion Hong Kong dollar share buyback, lifting its stock over 2%. And the move aims to reassure investors amid rising costs, competition and safety concerns. Shares remain down over 8% this year, showing continued valuation pressure. And finally, Ubisoft shares fell 34% after the company announced studio closures and cancelled 6 games. The Paris-listed firm expects a €1 billion operating loss for 2026 following a costly restructuring. Now, the cost cuts aims to save €500 million, but net bookings are now forecast at €1.5 billion, down from earlier guidance. And as with that, we head with markets in mind. Let's head now to the U.S. markets and see how Wall Street performed in Thursday's trading amid geopolitical tensions easing. Okay, so with Maria Bird in mind, we see markets were in green as geopolitical tensions eased on Thursday following President Trump's deal with Mark Rutte, and that's the chief of NATO. And that's the global news headlines for today.